What's up, YouTube family? It's your boy Clem and your girl who?
Shan.
And we are
back. We are back. And we have Senator Cornyn, leaves the Berkeley professor speechless when he asked about value of an unborn baby. So again, we got this Professor Bridges, giving her own questions to answer. Again.
Yeah, she get on my nerves sometimes.
And
man.
She leaves me speechless because she don't answer the simple question. But never mind. You ready to get into it?
Let's make it do what it do.
Ms. Professor Bridges, you in your testimony talked about the prevalence of abortion, the percentage of black babies that are aborted as opposed to non-black babies. I think you said 3 or 4 times more black babies than non-black babies are aborted. You also talk about systemic racism. Do you see any systemic racism associated with the prevalence of abortion for black babies as opposed to non-black babies?
Absolutely. The higher rates of unintended pregnancy that lead to higher abortion rates among black people is a result of structural racism, systemic racism. I understand systemic racism not to be boogeymen who are trying to dupe black people into abortion care. I understand structural racism to be the systems that have made it so that black people disproportionately bear the burdens of poverty in this country, the systems that have denied them the basics that they need in order to live humane lives like food, clothing, shelter, health care.
So you believe
a system that responds with the criminal legal system.
You believe there ought to be more black babies aborted, is that right?
I believe that we ought to create the conditions under which people can lead lives that are filled with dignity.
All right, so what system has caused poverty in the black...
I just want to know how systemic racism caused a higher unwanted pregnancy rate in
what
in black
system
areas.
is keeping me down, though? That's what I need to understand.
Like us specifically?
Period. Black folks, period.
I don't know which one she's talking about.
Is it lack of education that's keeping us down?
That could be
is that, because I don't understand, what system is keeping us down.
All right. I was a 16-year-old teen mom in high school, right? Couldn't afford daycare. But I found resources in my neighborhood that they paid for my daycare for me. I was able to go to school full time. If I needed other things for my kids, of course they had the government assistance before I met this young man over here. I did not get food stamps at first, actually I didn't get food stamps at all. They kept denying me anyway. But I was able to get free. My big thing was having daycare for me to be able to go to school. And I got daycare so I can go to school. My daycare kept my kids until I got off work. It was free until I graduated high school. Now, did I try to seek and find other resources to help me out? Because I was living at home with my mom, so I didn't really need that much because I have my own car. The resources that she's talking about that are not available, are the things that are holding black people down, I don't know. I mean, I guess they have different services in different communities, but she makes it seem like systemic racism made me get pregnant. Like, I don't get how systemic racism causes a black person to get pregnant. I thought a woman had to have sex with a man in order to have a baby. That's how pregnancy occurs. It still occurs that way, correct? All right, so what is she talking about?
If you go on Google, it's a whole web page of if you need assistance with rent.
They have rent assistance, but like I said, I live with my mom.
I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about. Is it the state that she in? They don't have assistance. Because
in her imaginary state that she's in.
Also have food stamps too.
But they still have food stamps.
I mean, so what's holding me back?
I don't know, but we never made excuses on things that we needed the government to do for us.
I'm sorry, I just had to stop her right there and see what I needed to hear.
But that is a lie that she's telling. I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, you ready to play?
Mm-hmm.
And humanity.
And
that
to
means
your,
being
to
able
your way
to,
of thinking, that happens when more black babies are aborted.
I trust I love Black people with the capacity for pregnancy. I think they have agency. They have
Women.
intelligence. They
You
know
love
what's
women
best for
who get
themselves,
pregnant?
and I would love to create the conditions under which they can live lives that are filled with dignity and humanity.
And do you think a baby that is delivered alive has value?
Yes.
All right,
Do you
we're
think
getting
that
somewhere.
a baby that is not yet born has value?
I believe that
Yes.
a person with a capacity for pregnancy has value. They have intelligence. They have agency. They
No,
have
I'm talking about the
dignity.
baby.
Right.
And I'm talking about the person with the capacity for
And
pregnancy.
you're not answering the question. I'm asking.
I'm answering a more interesting question to
Do you
me.
think that a baby that is not yet born, let's say the day before his mother delivers, do you think that baby has value?
I think that the person with the capacity for pregnancy has value, and they should have the ability to control what happens to their lives.
Well, and I just note you refused to answer
Thank
the
you.
question. Ms. Harrell, the Declaration of Independence talks about certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When do you think that unalienable right to life attaches?
Thank you. Yes, life is a human right. And when I answered Senator Booker's question earlier, that I think our laws should protect all human life, I think I was focusing on the hard part, and I didn't mean to suggest that it's a matter of congressional authority to enact the law that you described. But I do think that the American people understand that you have no rights if you don't have the right to life. That is a principle that our nation was founded upon, and every human being from its earliest existence has its own DNA and has a future. If we don't extinguish it, has a future.
Yeah.
And that is a human right. It is the values and mores, as Senator Cruz was speaking of, that goes back to the founding of our nation, even at common law, and all the way up until 1973, when those life-affirming laws in 46 states were turned on their heads by the Supreme Court. So I believe that's what the American people believe. Life is a human right.
Governor Stratton, as I listen to your testimony, it seems to me that you're advocating for abortion at any time, for any reason, at any point during a woman's pregnancy. Is that correct?
What I'm advocating for is for everyone to have the right to determine what's best for their life, their body, and their
Any
future.
time, at any point in the pregnancy. Is that correct?
I'm advocating for everyone to have the right to make the personal decision about what's best for
say
their life,
yes.
their body, and their future.
God,
everyone
it's a
should have
simple
that right.
question.
Do you not understand my question? My question is, are you advocating that there's a right to abortion at any time, for any reason, at any point during a pregnancy?
I'm not sure if you understand my answer, but what I'm saying
No,
is that
I understand that you're
Okay.
not
Embarrassing.
then
And what amazes me is the advocacy for unlimited abortion rights,
Shocks me too.
where there is zero value placed on an unborn child. I think Senator Cruz pointed out, obviously, abortion is a very emotional and divisive issue in our society. One reason why we haven't had conversations like this is because the Supreme Court has said you can't talk about it because it's out of bounds. It's in the Constitution, as opposed to it being decided in a forum, a legislative forum like the states. But what I don't understand is the argument that a unborn child has zero value the day before it's delivered, but then has value the day after it's born. Ms. Matzke, can you help explain that?
Thank you so much, Senator. Yes, I actually can. As a matter of fact, here in California, there's a law that's about to be passed called AB 2223. And this law basically will allow, as a woman is in the midst of a chemical abortion and she delivers a baby alive on the floor at any stage of pregnancy or in a hospital, that baby, if this law is passed, has the ability to be born alive and left to die. No matter what, a baby in the womb or outside of the womb has value. And we are not just talking about the value of a life in the womb right now, we are also talking about the value of a life in California after it is born and allowing it to die up to 28 days after birth.
Wow. Thank you.
That is just insane. I mean, like today, my daughter called me. She's like, "Mom, it's happening." I'm like, "What's happening?" You know, she's like, "I'm 5 centimeters." I'm like, "Okay, let me get your stuff." So I move like a snail because I know how long it can take before she, dilate anymore. But anyway, I get to the hospital and they still are checking or making sure that the baby's okay. Everything turned out to be wonderful, going wonderful, and then the contractions stop. So no grandbaby today, but that law in California just rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like saying if my daughter had chosen to do an abortion, I would have been in like jail right now trying to fight these people from not killing my grandbaby. I mean, I wouldn't have a job. I would probably be on the news and whatever. And because I'm a teacher, they would have to show me on the news. But what gives them the right to kill my grandbaby when my grandbaby is born? All because of some stupid law.
So they're saying that because the baby is in the woman's stomach, that it's not considered a baby.
In so many words, yeah. I mean, I guess that's what they're saying. I guess
the boy in the plastic
bubble boy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
John Travolta. Okay. Now picture this movie. This young man is in the bubble. He has to stay in the bubble. Okay, since he in a bubble, you can see him, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't see a baby. So, would he be considered a boy because he was in the bubble the whole time? He couldn't come out of the bubble, but because they can see him,
we know he's a boy.
Okay, so now even with a child, they use X-rays, whatever they use to see a child.
Ultrasound.
Yeah, ultrasound. So because we can't see the child
consistently or whatever,
so now that child's considered not a child, not a baby. I'm sorry.
Listen, it's an unborn.
No, I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out.
When is it considered a baby?
What they looking at? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, because at the end of the day, it's an unborn baby. It's still a baby.
So you had asked a question. Well, wrote a question. What should an unborn baby? What should we call an unborn baby? A child.
I mean, what
should
they call an unborn baby? Because evidently they think that a unborn baby is not a baby.
But again, they think that the value doesn't come until the child is born, when the child still has value. See, I have 5 grandbabies. We have 5 grandbabies. 2 still in the womb. 3 running around town. 2 I watch. 1 I watch 1 day a week. But anyway, I watch 3 of them. I value each one of those grandbabies that are here the same. I put the same value on them as I do the ones in the womb. I'm still upset because my summer is almost over and I have to go back to work, and now I'm panicking because somebody else has to watch my grandbabies.
Yeah.
So when my other grandbabies get here, yes, I'm going to feel the same way about them. But even though they're not here, I still value them the same way.
I like when the guy was asking the questions, because think about this. When this guy gets out of the seat, right? And you put somebody younger in the seat of this generation. Some of these people,
not a Democrat.
They get offended. They don't want to offend nobody. And Jordan Peterson said something that I wrote on a piece of paper that I always read. It says this: you have to risk being offended to establish the truth. That's all he was trying to do.
That's it.
I may ask you a question. It may offend you, but just give me the truth.
Yeah.
Is a baby when he or she is in the womb of her mother? Let's say belly of the mother.
Belly of the mother. Yes.
Is it or not?
Yes.
Just if you say no, then say no.
Now,
think about it. If you feel that,
then they'll break it down and be like, it's when the baby gets 6 weeks, it's a baby. But that before it's 6 weeks, like now you.
Yeah, it's a bunch of confusion.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but other than that, YouTube family.
All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. But she killed me with that. I have a more interesting question. I mean, she want to answer a more interesting question. Like, answer his question. Answer his question. Because you will want your students to answer your questions.
Exactly, yep.
Like, what? Oh, my God. Okay, don't forget, like or subscribe. Don't forget, come back later. Peace.